She had one rule that she had kept for 3 years. Never tell him. Not who she was, not where she came from, not why she had arrived in this city with nothing but a passport under a different name, and the particular stillness of someone who had left everything behind and intended to keep it that way. He was the richest man in the country. She was, apparently, nobody. A translator. Quiet. Precise. The kind of person who moved through rooms without being noticed and preferred it that way. He noticed her anyway. He always noticed her, and slowly, without planning it, he fell in love with the nobody. Then on a Tuesday morning 3 years after she arrived, they came for her, 6 men. Black cars, the flag of a country she had spent 3 years trying to forget. She watched them from the window, and she understood that the rule was about to break. What she told him that evening changed everything he thought he knew, but not in the way she expected, because he looked at her and said, "I know. I've known for a year. I was waiting for you to tell me, and I love you anyway. I loved you before I knew, and I love you now." That was the most important thing anyone had ever said to her, in any language. She had chosen the name carefully, not randomly. Nothing she did was random. Had not been random since the night 3 years ago when she had walked out of a palace with a single bag and a passport that said Lena Vasek, and a plan that consisted entirely of getting far enough away that the plan could be made properly. Lena Vasek. A name that belonged to a woman who had grown up in the city, whose parents were teachers, whose life was ordinary in the particular way of lives that nobody examined. She had built the identity with the thoroughness of someone who understood that the details were what held the fiction together. The small apartment, the translation work, the library card, the particular way she ordered coffee that was different from how she had been taught to receive it. She was good at languages. This was, in her previous life, considered unremarkable. In the world she came from, languages were expected, were part of the furniture, or acquired the way other things were acquired, as a matter of course. Here they were a skill, marketable, something that produced work. She worked for a translation agency. The agency had a contract with Reeve International. This was how she met him. He was not what she expected. She had known who he was before she met him, had looked him up with the particular thoroughness of someone who had learned that knowing who you were dealing with was a survival skill, and had formed an impression from the photographs and the business press that she was now in his conference room on a Thursday afternoon, revising. The photographs showed a man who occupied space with the confidence of someone who had never questioned his right to it. The man in the conference room was something more specific, focused, direct, occasionally impatient in the way of someone whose mind moved faster than the meeting, but also, and this was what she had not expected, genuinely interested in what other people said. He listened, not performatively, actually. She was translating a contract negotiation, Korean counterparts, complex terms, the particular density of legal language that required precision and judgment simultaneously. She worked without notes, which she knew was unusual, which she had tried to do less conspicuously after the first meeting, when someone had commented on it. James Reeve noticed. After the meeting he had said, You didn't use notes. No, she said. How many languages? He said. For work, 7, she said. Conversationally, more. He looked at her. Lena Vasek, he said, reading her badge. Yes, she said. I'd like to request you specifically for our Asian market negotiations, he said. If the agency can arrange it, I'll let them know, she said. She went home and sat in her small apartment and thought about the particular problem of being noticed by someone she could not afford to be noticed by. She went back the following Thursday anyway. The translation work became regular. Regular became familiar. Familiar became something else. Something she had not planned for and had not been able to prevent with the same efficiency. She had applied to everything else. He asked her questions, not personal questions, not at first. Questions about language, about the way meaning shifted between cultures, about the particular losses that occurred in translation when the concept in one language had no equivalent in another. She answered carefully, keeping the answers in the territory of the professional, until the territory began to expand without her noticing. He knew she was from somewhere else. She had told him Eastern Europe, which was not false, which was a direction rather than a destination. He had not pushed. She had been grateful for that and had stored the gratitude as information about him, the way she stored everything. She learned that he had built his company from nothing, not the inherited wealth she had assumed, but the particular construction of someone who had started with a small logistics firm at 24 and had made decisions for 15 years that had compounded correctly, that he had been married once, briefly, at 29, and had not spoken of it again except once, obliquely, in a way that told her the subject had been filed rather than resolved. He learned that she read everything, that she preferred mornings, that she had strong opinions about architecture and kept them to herself in most rooms and expressed them in his office, because his office had a window that looked out on 3 buildings she found interesting, and he had asked what she was looking at, and she had told him. 3 years. She had not planned for 3 years. She had not planned to be sitting in his office on a rainy Wednesday evening, long after the translation work was done, talking about a building across the street, thinking, with the particular clarity of a truth that has been avoiding examination, that she was in love with a man she could never tell the truth to. She saw the cars from the kitchen window, 3 black cars. The particular black of official vehicles, not the black of wealth, which was softer, more considered, but the specific institutional black of state apparatus. They were parked on the street below with the deliberate patience of people who were not going anywhere. She looked at the flag on the lead car, small, discreet. But there, she knew that flag. She had grown up under that flag. She sat down at the kitchen table and thought clearly and quickly, which was what she did in situations that required it, a skill that had been trained into her from childhood, and that she had come to think of as the most useful thing her previous life had given her. They had found her, not through any error of hers. She had been careful, consistently careful, for 3 years. But she had always understood that careful had limits, that the resources available to find her were significant, and that 3 years was perhaps longer than she had deserved. She thought about what came next. She thought about James. She had told herself for 3 years that the not telling was protection for him, not for her. That involving him in the truth of who she was would make him a target, would complicate his life with complications he had not chosen, would be unfair. She had told herself this so many times that she had stopped examining whether it was true. She called him. "I need to tell you something," she said. "Tonight. Can you come?" "Yes," he said, without asking why, without asking when. Just yes. She sat at the kitchen table and looked at the flag on the car below and thought about how to begin. He came at 7. She had made tea, the particular tea she made when something important was happening, which she had done since childhood, which was one of the habits she had kept because it was small enough to keep. She told him everything. Not quickly. She had learned that important things required the correct pace, that rushing them was a form of disrespect to what they were. She told him who she was, the country, the family, the title, which she said plainly, without the performance of drama, because it was simply true. She told him about the night she left, about the marriage that had been arranged without her knowledge, about the man she had been told she would marry, about the particular moment when she had understood that her life was being organized around her consent without consulting it. She told him about the passport, about Lena Vosek, about the translation agency and the small apartment and the library card, and 3 years of building a life that was, in every way that mattered, more real to her than the one she had left. She told him about the cars outside. She told him all of it. He listened. He did not interrupt. He did not, at any point, produce the expression she had been preparing for, the particular expression of someone receiving information that changes what they thought they knew and finding the change unwelcome. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I know." She looked at him. "I've known for a year," he said. "A journalist found something. I had it stopped. The story, the journalist, the whole thing." He paused. "I didn't tell you because I was waiting for you to tell me." "You knew," she said. "Yes," he said. "For a year." "Yes," he said. "And you said nothing. You weren't ready," he said. "I could see that. And I thought, if I told you I knew, you might leave. And I didn't want you to leave." She looked at the tea. "James," she said. Single quotes, "Yes. Why didn't you?" She stopped. "The marriage arrangement. The reason I left. If you knew who I was, you knew about that." "Yes," he said. "Then you knew I left to avoid being married to someone I hadn't chosen," she said. "And you said nothing. You just waited," he said. "Yes. Why?" He looked at her. "Because," he said, "I wanted you to choose. Freely. Without pressure. Without obligation." He paused. "I have spent a year not asking you anything that would make you feel that who you were before was something I was interested in. Because I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in you." He held her gaze. Lena Vosek, who reads everything and prefers mornings, and has opinions about architecture she keeps to herself in most rooms. She was very still. I loved you before I knew, he said. I love you now. The title doesn't change anything that matters. She looked at him for a long time. It changes the cars outside, she said. Yes, he said. We'll deal with the cars. It's complicated, she said. I know, he said. I'm good at complicated. James, she said. Yes, I chose, she said. 3 years ago, and every day since. I chose this life. I chose. She stopped. I chose you. Before I knew it was a choice. He reached across the table. She took his hand. Outside, the cars waited. He dealt with the cars the following morning. Not the way she expected. Not with the confrontation or the legal complexity or the diplomatic escalation she had been preparing for. He dealt with them the way he dealt with everything. Directly, efficiently, with the particular clarity of someone who had decided what the outcome was going to be and was working backward from it. He made 3 calls. She did not know who he called. She knew, from the way he spoke, the particular register of someone who was calling equals rather than subordinates, that the calls were significant. By noon the cars were gone. What did you do? She said. I know people, he said. Who know people? Who understand that certain situations are better resolved quietly than publicly. The arrangement, she said, the marriage, is no longer operative, he said. The man in question has other complications now, ones that make pursuing this particular arrangement inadvisable. She looked at him. You investigated him, she said. A year ago, he said, when I found out who you were. I wanted to understand what you had left. He paused. What I found explained why you left, and made it very easy to ensure he would not follow. James, she said, you were going to ask if I overstepped, he said. Yes, she said. Probably, he said. But he was sending cars to your apartment. I decided that superseded the overstepping. She looked at the window where the cars had been. Thank you, she said. You're welcome, he said. Now, there's something I want to ask you. She looked at him. Not today, he said. When you're ready, but I want you to know the question is coming. What question? She said. The obvious one, he said. She looked at him, at the man who had known for a year, and had waited, who had dealt with the cars with 3 phone calls, who had said, I loved you before I knew, with the complete simplicity of someone stating a fact. Ask it now, she said. Are you sure? He said. Ask it, she said. He asked it. She said yes. The story came out eventually. Not through the journalist. That story stayed stopped. But through other means. The particular osmosis of information in a world where significant things rarely stayed contained indefinitely. Billionaire James Reeve engaged to Eastern European princess. The headlines were various and uniformly interested in the wrong things. The title, the country, the question of whether she would return, the political implications, the particular fascination of wealth meeting royalty, as though the combination produced something more significant than to people who had found each other. She read them with the detached attention of someone who had spent 3 years learning to observe herself from the outside. You're handling this well, James said. I've had practice, she said. Being discussed. It will stop, he said. Eventually. It won't, she said. But it will become background. That's enough. He looked at her. Do you miss it? He said. The country. The life you left. She thought about it honestly. I miss the language, she said. The specific way certain things are said in it that don't translate exactly. She paused. I miss the food. The particular food of childhood that exists nowhere else. She turned her cup. I don't miss the life. The life was arranged around me without consulting me. She looked at him. This life I chose. Every part of it. Including the difficult parts. He said. Especially those, she said. The difficult parts are the ones you actually choose. The easy parts just happen. She kept the name. Legally, she was still the person she had been born. The title, the full name, the complicated heritage that the headlines found so interesting. But privately, in the life she had built, she remained Lena. Why? James asked, not challenging, genuinely curious. Because, she said, Lena Vasek is who I chose to be. She's the person who walked into a translation agency and learned to make a life from languages. She paused. The other name was given to me. Lena I gave myself. Then Lena, he said. Yes, she said. In every room, he said. In every room, she confirmed. His mother, a woman named Eleanor, who had the particular sharpness of someone who had built a family fortune and watched her son build a larger one, and had opinions about both, had received the news with the particular composure of someone absorbing something unexpected and deciding what to do with it. She had met Lena on a Sunday lunch. She had said very little during lunch. Afterward, she had said to James, "She's not what I expected." "What did you expect?" he said. Someone who knew what she had, Eleanor said. Most people in her position would know exactly what they had and how to use it. And she doesn't seem interested in what she has, Eleanor said. She seems interested in what she's building. A pause. That's different. Yes, James said. It is. Eleanor looked at her son. She's right for you, she said. I didn't think anyone would be. I was wrong. You're occasionally wrong, James said. Very occasionally, Eleanor said. Don't push it. On a Sunday morning in April, Lena was in the kitchen when James came down. She was translating. The work had continued because she had decided it would continue, because she was good at it, and because it mattered to her, and because James had understood immediately that it was not something she was willing to give up. He looked at what she was working on. Mandarin, he said. Contract, she said. New supplier. The legal team thinks it says one thing. It says something slightly different. How different? Enough, she said. I'll have a note to your team by noon. He made coffee. He sat across from her. She worked. He watched her. The particular watching of someone who had waited a year for a truth and had received it and had found that the truth was exactly what he had hoped and nothing he had feared. Lena, he said. HMM. Thank you, he said. She looked up. For what? She said. For choosing, he said. 3 years ago, and every day since, she looked at him. at the man who had noticed her in a conference room and had waited and had dealt with 3 black cars with 3 phone calls and had said, "I loved you," before I knew with the simplicity of a fact. "Thank you," she said, "for waiting. It wasn't hard," he said. "It was a year," she said. "You were worth a year," he said. "You were worth considerably more." She looked at him for a moment. Then she went back to the contract. He drank his coffee. The Sunday morning moved around them, the city outside doing what it always did, full of people who did not know that in this kitchen a woman who had left everything behind had found something worth staying for. She left everything: a palace, a title, a life arranged around her without consulting her. She arrived with a different name and built something real from the only things she brought with her: her languages, her attention, her capacity to choose. He noticed her anyway, not the title, not the country, not the heritage. Her. He found out who she was and said nothing. For a year, because he wanted her to choose freely, she did. Here is what we learned. The most important things about a person are never the things they were given. They are the things they chose. She chose a name. She chose a city. She chose a life. She chose him. He chose to wait. He chose to know and say nothing. He chose to love the person before he knew the title. That is the only love worth having. The love that chose you before it knew what it was getting. Be that person. Choose before you know. Love before you understand what you're loving. That is everything.